Hello, and once again, we are live of the Modern Mystery School UK and EU podcast and YouTube channel. Today, we welcome Martina Coogan. How are you, Martina?
Hello, Davina Kate. Thank you so much for organizing this. I'm very well.
Well, who better to talk about Professional Integration Day than you, Martina? Because you were the one that introduced this to me, I remember, and you said, you have to come, you have to come. And I was like, what's this? What's it all about? And then I was like, now I get it. So could you tell us what the real magic behind that recertification, coming back together, and why it's so important that we do that in a mystery school lineage?
Mm-mm. Yes, well, as you know, you go to Healers Academy and you get this amazing wand, and you get trained. I went to Healers Academy, and I had no concept of the magic that was going to take place, that would happen to me, as well as getting this magical tool. I had no concept. My mind wasn't ready to even begin to contemplate that. I went. And in those 5 days, I got this amazing tool. And I went home. I'd love to share. At the end of Healers Academy, I went out. I was living in America at the time, and I went out into the parking lot, and I felt so elevated. I was sitting on a bench in a cemented area where this hotel was, and I could feel I was holding this, and I felt like I was at the highest point of my evolution. I was in a beautiful mountain range, and the clarity and the flow and the alignment between my head and my heart I had never experienced. And I got more than I ever imagined in those 5 days. And I remember sitting there and holding my wand like this and thinking, I want to stay here forever. I want to stay in this state forever. And, I wanted to stay in the parking lot longer. But night fell. I went back to my hotel room. I had to get on a plane the next day and go home. But I brought my wand with me, and I started doing life activations. And I got invited almost a year later to go back to do my next level. And in doing that, the entry was to go through this day. And I was like, okay, great. So I didn't even think about it. I just went on my way, right? And I went in, and Founder Goodney was leading it. And he started talking. And he said, he used this term, kaizen. And he said it's a Japanese term, and he described it, and I still hear his voice saying it, that you're never so good as you can't get better. And I thought, oh, okay. And then he started to talk about how in when they use this concept in Japan in their lives, and how we use it in the lineage, how he was sharing it that day in the lineage, is that we want to hone our training of the craft. And we want to get to that best state of being and better state of beings. And in doing that, we are also going back to be a better state within ourselves. And I had an amazing magical day. And I remember coming out a different parking lot, may I say, and feeling the same way. Feeling like, oh my heavens, I'm here with my wand, but I'm in such alignment between my head and my heart. And out there in the world, I had not tilted, but I had tilted. Not forgotten, but I had forgotten. Not lost anything, but also not remembered everything the same way. And so I had an aha inside me that day. And I thought, this day is very special because it elevates me back to being in that, not just my higher mindset with clarity, not just my divine mindset that is uncomprehendable to my logical mind, but my heart knows it. But it allows both to flow together so that I can actually remember and embody and do. And I can go out with the safety and with the assurance of the lineage, knowing that I can come back And I can practice Kaizen on my own, but I can also practice it with my community. And I can come back to this temple of light where I'll be able to remember with the hierarchy of light, with my guides, with the lineage of King Salomon beings, as to what the next steps for me are, my steps for myself, but also my steps of service, where I'm going to get that sensation, that feeling of, yes, I am doing the work that I'm here to do. So it's a very powerful day, and it's a very magical day, and it's a very special day. And every year when I go, I learn something that I'd never thought of. I'd never thought of it on my own, whether it's from, you know, somebody I'm sitting next to that gives me this aha moment or insight, or it's, you know, one of the third order, or one of the divinas, or one of you, Divina Kate or Divina Lisa, that remind us. And it's like, yes, yes, I knew that, but I forgot it. So now I have it.
I love that. And that just goes to show how action-packed that day is. Because it's like, oh yeah, you're coming to a professional integration day. And I don't think people really understand that this is a packed day of magic, information, community building, fun, you know, elevation, healing. I mean, I don't think people realize or understand just how amazing that one day can be, and will then flow into the rest of our lives for the following year.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it truly is like so much happens, you know, and you don't come alone. You don't come alone, and you don't attend alone. And that's what I love so much about it. You know, I had to bring my wand out today because my wand is part of Professional Integration Day. And you know, it's so powerful. It's uncomprehendable to the logical mind. And that's why sometimes people will say to me, like, well, I don't want to go. And it's like, well, but it's not to be missed, because you have to go if you want to keep yourself at that elevated state, in the highest frequency, and doing what you want to do, because it is truly what we want to do. We want to serve the great work. We want to be the leaders of Shambhala, and that all comes back to the wand. The wand is part of that.
Yeah, I agree. It's so funny, isn't it? Because as you know, I was one of those people that could often make excuses about, you know, not going somewhere or doing things. And it's, you know, because we do need reminding, say, hey, this isn't like a normal everyday day. This is something that's way beyond, you know, this multi-dimensional, you know, quantum leaps, true magic. I mean, the shifts in us, and the joy that it brings into our hearts will see us good and right for that following year. That's what I always found, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a great day to set goals for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and so I always, on a personal level, do that. I set a goal for myself. You know, what am I going to work on this year, and what do I want to accomplish? And I find that extremely powerful, because I'm making a way. It's a mark that day, and it's a marker day. You know, and sometimes, you know, when you do that in the temple, it's in an elevated frequency, and you set that intention, and you can manifest it, you know. So I want to, whatever it might be, it's different every year. And in fact, one year you gave me the gift of that. You said, I like to do something different every year. I like to do things a different way every year. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's going to be my challenge this year, you know, to go out there and to do things in a different way. And it is very powerful when you set that intention within that temple of light, because it's very different when you're at home with the pen and paper by yourself. And when you're in the temple, you're able to see things from, it's like that 360 perspective. So it's easier to understand, and it's easier to break through the limitations, because it's very easy to make excuses. You know, we do that the 364 days of the year on our own. So in the temple, we want to see, how can I get beyond doing that? And this is a great day for that.
Well, if people aren't lining up to come to Professional Integration Day right now, and my emails are not going hot with "Can I come?" even though they haven't even done Healers Academy, then I don't know what else it's going to take. But Professional Integration Day, just so viewers are aware. It's for people that have attended Healers Academy or Healers 2. And we also have one for guides as well. And they happen all over the world. But the Professional Integration Day for Life Activation Practitioner is in October in the UK and May in Canada. And there's Brazil is also, and South Africa. So depending on where you are, you go to those ones. And you can email me if you're not sure. I can pop you in touch with the right person if you're not in the UK EU. And of course but saying that you're welcome to go to, if you find yourself in that position that you can't make the one in October, then you could always come to the one in May. Also, we were saying, Martina, that of course, if you haven't been to a Professional Integration Day before, and you actually completed Healers Academy a few years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, you can still come.
You can come, absolutely. You see, that's the beautiful part about the Lineage. The Lineage is available to everybody.
Yeah.
And you can do it at your pace. So if you don't have to go. It's not like if you can skip a year. I've had clients who haven't come for 2 or 3 years because they decided to focus on a different area of their life. Or I've had some of my beautiful ladies, they've had their babies and it fell around the same time that they were going to be delivered. That's okay. We are living life and we want to live that life. And then when we come to Professional Integration Day, it's like a reset. And we reset whether you were in Healers 6 months ago, whether you were in Healers a year ago, or whether you were in Healers 10 years ago. We'll reset from that day going forward for 365 days. And if you're in doubt, come, because it's going to enhance all areas of your life, because you're the center of your life. So when you come that day and you get elevated in the light and you get clarity in the light, then you'll make better decisions in different areas of your life. So sometimes, some people have asked me that and say, well, I'm not sure. And I say, come, because then you'll be able to bring the light into the areas of your life and it'll help you make the decisions that maybe you're a little stagnant on, because the temple brings an elevation of light, and the elevation of light will help you to align within and to have clarity in your mind. And when you have clarity in your mind, then you can make those decisions so much easier. So it's going to help all areas of your life. And we forget that when we're out in the world. We think, I have to decide about this. Let me make the decision and then I'll decide about everything else. And guess what? Sometimes 6 months have passed and no decision has been made. But when you come in to Professional Integration Day, into the temple of light that we do it within, even though it's in a hotel room many times, we're still inside a temple of light. And then we get all the clarity comes. And we're able to push through, we're able to walk away, and we're able to make decisions, and we're able to set goals. So that's the inner magic. It's not going to be on the flyer. And when you experience it, you'll be like, okay, I got this. I got it. I'm booking the date for next year already.
I agree. And you will always be welcomed with open arms. Please know that if you're watching this and you're not sure, email me, email Martina, email one of us.
Absolutely.
Standing at the door ready to give you a big hug. So
yeah. And that's the thing. It's a day of being in the heart energy.
Yeah.
So it's very beautiful.
It is.
It's never long enough. It's never long enough.
Okay. Well, that's in the one that we, the big one we just did. I think people were like, "Oh, aren't we going to be going on for longer?" Even though it was 6:37, whatever time it was, people were really wanting to carry on because it was.
And that's because I always say it's like when our hearts and our mind are aligned, then it's a timeless process where it's all flow, and it's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Martina, for sharing your wisdom. And we hope to see you all at one of the professional integration days that are happening around the world. And if you're not sure about anything, just give us an email, get in touch with your guide, HQ, whoever you want to. We will all be very happy to help and support you. Thank you, Martina. Good night.
Thank you so much, Davina Kate.